to Bob Coffee. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you with the love and the honor of the Infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the blessings from the universe. Now, with that said, the AI was just on Milky Way Weekly and had some glitches going on. So going to try a little bit of something here this evening, but it's a subject that needs to be discussed. Recent events in my own life, which I talk about, probably I get ad nauseum, but in the respect that I think it's important that if there is something to be learned in human nature, it's we need to be aware of all things. For example, the title of this particular video is Unintended Consequences. What do you mean by that? Unintended consequences. Now, let me start off with just a basic example of what I mean by this. For example, you know somebody in your neighborhood or something like that, and somebody's being abused or something like that, so you report it. Now, you don't understand. Now, the first thing, our first instinct may be there's someone, being hurt. But we don't know what the situation is, and so we intervene. Our intentions are good, but it's going to break up a family. The mother might get displaced. The child might end up in foster care. And we don't know what our positive intent actually nets us in the long run. We wish to save somebody. We wish to help a person. But in the long run, do we actually do that? And there's a lot of instances where, as it says in the Bible, the road to heaven is paved with, or the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Absolutely. So where we may think we're doing something positive, we need to be aware of everything. Well, wait a minute. Is my positive intent actually going to spur or, create a negative situation? Now, using the thing about, the wife's getting beat, well, that's one thing, because the wife, she has a choice to get out. You could help, blah, blah, blah. And I've known some battered spouses in my lifetime, I being one of them at one point. But to the point of understanding is like, yeah, but how much do you intervene? You want to help, you wish to intervene and get whatever you can. But in the end, is your intention, even though it's good, does it have a positive outcome? And there are many times when actually our good intentions backfire. Now, is that Murphy's Law in the universe? Hey, how are you, Gerald? Greetings and blessings to you and anybody else that's out there in the chat room, lurking, lingering, hanging out in the background. You don't have to be in the chat. Blessings to everyone. But, there are many of us that have good intentions, but did it actually come out the way we thought? There's a lot of stuff in between our good intention. Now, I'm using this extreme example. Let's just stick with like a battered wife or something, okay? And you try, but now the husband gets pissed off. He gets drunk and comes home and beats her so badly, he breaks her jaw and puts her in the hospital because you intervened. Now, that was not your intention. Your intention was to try to get that mean SOB off of her and, and to get her help so that she wouldn't get beat up again. And it actually made it worse. I've seen too many circumstances over my 67 years to say sometimes getting involved has negative consequences, even though our intentions are pure. Now, circumstances dictate otherwise. So we have to understand when we want to put forth our good intentions towards something, do we really understand the whole picture? Do we really get what we're doing? Do we really understand? Well, you say, well, this is going to help in the short term. Yeah, but what's the long term? Is it going to benefit, or is it going to be something that ruins people's lives? Now, one can say that a battered wife, that her life is ruined anyway. And having been in situations, you think, well, I'll just put up with it. I'll tolerate it. It's not so bad. But from somebody else, it's like, this is horrible. Stop that. But, to the person in it, it's that syndrome, you get locked in with your abuser and, but to the point of this, though, anyone else interrupting in this or getting involved, the intention, they say, well, the government steps in for children, right? Are their intentions good? One could ask, could question their intentions. But the premise of it is, let us intervene in a situation where uh, family members are abusing or, in any way, shape, or form, and that there needs to be an intervention. Well, all interventions may not net what we think. Not to say we shouldn't try, but we should be careful. So anytime you think, well, this is, I'm working on the good side, so I'm going to do this and it'll work itself out. Maybe not. Maybe there's something else in there in your mission as trying to be a good person and a good, and a good Samaritan and so forth in this life. Maybe there's something else in there. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't intervene when people are getting hurt, especially sexually abused, but sometimes we interrupt something and turn some, there's a lot of stuff about, pedophilia and child abuse and so forth, even in foster care and government care and orphanages. And I'm just here to say, having been part of that system, it ain't all cranked up to what they say. But now, to the other side of the coin, could it be better than living on the street or, staying in an abusive home? But my point, going back to the basic thing, is, though, our unintended consequence could be, I want to intervene. But does the intervention actually create more of a problem than what you actually intend? So in the spiritual realm, we can intervene with somebody's spirituality. Now, there are those folks, and we talked about this on Milky Way Messenger's show earlier this evening, and it was brought up by Brian Lumsford that, there are people who will condemn those of us without a bona fide religion, if you will, and we're all going to hell. And so it's like, how do you face that adversity from a spiritual standpoint? You go, well, wait a minute. I can see your point of view, but you can't understand my point of view. So, but you're condemning me to hell because you don't agree with my beliefs. Well, I'm a spiritually good person. My intentions are good. But so here's the point from this Christian's point of view, their intentions are good. They say, well, if you don't, bow down and worship the Lord, then you're not going to heaven. You ain't going, you're condemned. That's it, because the Bible tells me so. But they're doing something against their own rules. Hey, Michelle, how are you? They're making judgment calls when they don't have the proper information, and they don't have the right. None of us have the right to judge someone else. Now, if there's a rule or a law and somebody's crossed it, like pedophilia, child abuse, that's against the law. That's against human nature as well. It's harming another individual. That's against the basic rule of the universe. Do no harm. So in that, yeah, okay. But the judgment is passed on normally by a group of folks from their peers. Hey, Jody, how are you? Blessings to you. But in that, you say, well, wait a minute. Let me think about this. How much can we judge about this? Now, I'm having been in jail. The amount that I possessed was not worth a 20-year sentence, but that's what they gave me. Now I worked out of it. But to the point, though, I had the drugs could have fit in the palm of your hand and you could have closed your fist. And I was going to serve 20 years for that. Now, because that was the law. Now, was that a proper judgment? I would say no. But to the rules, well, I broke their rules. So therefore a judgment came down, 5 years for 4 counts, and I had 20 years. Now, so there are judgments that are legal, supposedly. And then there are personal judgments where we say, well, that person sucks. Well, if somebody's beating up on another person, we should not encourage that behavior. And if you see somebody beating on somebody, if you can, step in and stop it, you know, um, because violence, you know, it only inflicts pain. But in doing so, though, we also take on, when we do, our intentions are to stop the fight. We may get our ass whooped. I've had my face kicked in a few times because I interrupted a family squabble, if you will. This is my wife. I can beat her up if I want to. Smack. Whoa, wait a minute. Hang on here. You know, I don't think anybody should beat up on anybody like that. But, you know, I got my ass creamed because I stuck my nose in where it wasn't, where it didn't belong, you know, even though he quit beating on me and focused his attention on, he quit beating on her and focused his attention on beating on me. But to the point, though, at least it interrupted it, you know. But anyway, but to the point, though, you know, I'd stand back and go, wait a minute, I might not just dive in the middle of this guy, you know, in between them. Next time, maybe I will use maybe I'll use a board and take him down and then worry about it later. I don't know. But that's an extreme situation. However, people are faced with some of these situations on a daily basis. Hey, Joanna Maynard, how are you? Blessings. Gerald, hi. Did I miss anybody? Blessings to y'all. So we just need to make sure that what we intend is going to actually net a positive outcome, and that we've got all the bases covered. Like, if you're going to intervene, then can you help this person? Can you give them any kind of monetary? Do you know somewhere you can put them in a home? Can you take the children in and you be their foster? Is there something you can do to not just say, well, I turned them in? And I've seen this in neighborhoods before. When I was growing up in Tampa, someone made a phone call and the family was disrupted and this and that. They got divorced and the kids were sent off, and it just, you know, but that neighbor thought they were doing the right thing. Now, at the same point, maybe there are people who don't call in enough. Maybe instead of calling in someone else, neighbors should intervene and go, look, we don't like your behavior here. Chase the drug dealers off the streets and think, you know, yeah, there's shooting and stuff going on in certain cities. But the thing is that we be smart about it. Now, going back to just let's focus on some spirituality here. So, for example, our intentions. Here's my Christian friends who come to me and go, well, babe, we still pray for you, even though you're off on this weird tangent. You know, we still hope you get to heaven. And I'm thinking to myself, I hope you make it too. But, you know, and I'm not sure if I want to go to your heaven, but that's another discussion. And I've already had that discussion in previous videos. But to the point, though, that I don't know if I want to live in a gated community. You know, that's not my idea of what heaven should be. Heaven is the universe. But so in their reality, no, it's the pearly gates. And I'm like, well, okay, I can take you. So rather than create a spiritual argument, focus on well, do you believe in love? Well, sure I do. Well, do you believe in for peace in mankind? Are you against war? Well, yeah, except where it's necessary. Well, okay. But you don't go into that. And, you know, you don't use trigger words to get them on your side. And you say, well, you know, we all need to vibrate at certain frequency. That's going to trigger most Christians into going, what? Hang on here. So you stay away from those types of words early on. You bring it up later, 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months. What you do is you establish a baseline. And because if you talk about frequencies and higher spirits and all, your intentions are good, but what's going to be your net result? Now, they're going to throw the Lord up at you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to throw the Bible and they're going to do this. So you put them in a defensive mood. So what you do, how do you fix this? because you want your intentions are pure. You want them to sort of understand, well, I believe in for peace of all mankind, regardless of race, creed, color. Really? Well, do you believe in, in feeding people that are hungry? Well, yeah. Okay. Do you, the core values that they talk about? So I just ask them simply, well, do you believe in that? Do you believe in this? Yes. Well, then we agree. Well, but you don't have the Lord. You just say, okay, but that's your belief. And right now, this is mine. But we all believe, and I believe that Jesus existed. Now, I believe in the Christ consciousness. So for me personally, I can say, hey, look, I believe in this. And I can talk Bible with them. And I can talk the Catholic Church with them. But you may not. It depends on your own circumstance. But for me, I grew up in the Catholic Church. And I saw it from the inside. And I said, yeah, none of this. No more of this. But I realized that I was still a spiritual being. And as I've said before, Sister Helena, Tampa Catholic, she told me, she goes, study Buddhism. That's what Jesus did. When he went off, he studied the Eastern traditions, and he came back and he brought those traditions with him, which was totally against all the Jewish stuff and the pagan stuff and the Roman stuff and all that. So yeah, he was an outsider. So do I believe in that? Yeah. Do I believe he was the son of God? We're all a son of God and daughters, So I go even further into this. So, well, what about this? I don't believe in original sin because supposedly Christ died for our sins. So I can argue that point. Say, well, but you say I have to be baptized. I've been baptized in 4 different religions. Am I saved yet? Well, I don't know. You're not saved in my church. But hang on here, but you can get into the discussion of things, or you can stick with the basics. And your intended consequence will turn out more positive because you've limited the argument. Stick with basic points. And it's not that you'll win the argument. They'll go, well, wait a minute. Hang on. Maybe he's got a different point of view here, but he does good work. He's always trying to be positive. He's come over and mowed my grass when I was sick, whatever, So when your deeds prove who you are, those folks say, well, you don't have the Lord. Well, okay. That's your impression. What? Well, that's your impression. That's your church. That's your, and that's your belief. But thank you for caring. I will still pray for you. I still love you, regardless of what church you belong to. So I don't bring up, I'm not going to try to stir up, well, I think you should believe like me, because I will pick the things that I know they already believe in. They believe in peace and honor and love and etc. We can agree on that. So from that standpoint, the rest of the discussion doesn't really matter because we should focus on those values. Our intended consequence then can turn out positive versus trying to trigger a reaction. And we know we're going to do it as soon as we bring up certain words. We know what we mean. But once we get them to go like calm down and not be pointing their finger and going, you're going to hell. Once we kind of get that settled, then we can say, when we speak, and as a DJ, I could say, I worked as a DJ and you always had to modulate your microphone with the VU meter. And you always had to make sure that it wasn't in the red, but it was right up there so that your broadcast voice was consistent. And that's a certain frequency. Oh, there's that word. Yeah, but you use radio. Everybody has listened to the radio at one time or another. We've got microphones in our computers now and wristwatches, for God's sakes. So they understand what frequencies are. But when you bring it into something they can understand versus a spiritual realm, but you bring it in and say, well, our voices have a frequency. And when you say a prayer, that's exactly what you do. But sometimes we say things that actually that's negative. And if you're a positive being, then you want to make sure that what you say, your prayers are positive because you want a positive outcome, right? Yes. Okay, then we're in agreement. They can still judge me for being a wacko. That's okay. But I love them anyway because they're at least trying. And whether they've been whitewashed or brainwashed or whatever washed or no brain at all sometimes. You have to give, they're still spiritual beings and we still must pray for them. And regardless, because as Jesus said, forgive them for they know not what they do. So they may condemn us, they may nail us to their cross to make us believe. But the bottom line is, do we give honor to the universe? Do we put our hands up and say, thank you to the angels? Thank you to the universe. I give honor to the mother goddess, to Mother Earth. Thank you for letting me live on top of this planet. And you haven't, washed me overboard yet. Well, actually, I have been washed overboard, but I'm still here. I have to learn how to swim. Bob in the water, hey, Bob, we love you. But to the point, though, that if we go into a situation and we know what our intentions are, then we need to make sure that they stay clean, concise. We've kind of covered a few angles. We know this person. We know not to use certain words yet until we get them comfortable with us. It's not that they should believe us, but they realize that there's a lot more that we have in common. And it's religion that is uncommon to us. But believe in him, but So you get them to understand, wait a minute, I'm not a bad person. I just believe differently. Well, now you can have, as depending on who it is, a family member, whatever, you got to start out slow. If you bonk them over the head too quickly, your positive intent is going to come out bass backwards, and it normally does, because they'll throw up their hands and go, whoa, but you got to bow down to the Lord and you got to worship. And hang on there. Wait, I adore Creator and the Source. I adore the angels and all the spirits and all the entities that have helped us and are continuing to help us. And I say thank you to all those beings that help us. And I'm, doing my best to try to not be, anything negative. Y'all, change your evil ways. You can join the light, but, I'm not going to give you any energy. You're not stealing mine. I will, ward myself with as many prayers as possible so that you can't have me. And you cannot use me in any way that is detrimental from my own personal intent. Now, I'm speaking about something, I don't want to go into detail about it, but something recently happened. And thus this conversation, because it is important. Sometimes, even myself, you think my intentions are good, but further down the line, I may not have thought far enough ahead that what I almost did would have had unintended consequences. Now, in my heart and in my soul, I went over this for several days and said, no, I didn't mean harm, but I can see where it would have had a negative effect from what my original intention was. Damn sure don't want to do that. Don't want to slip up. Oh, hell no. Life is too precious and there's so much out there. But when we think we got it all covered, maybe we just need to just take another step back and go, hang on, wait. Maybe I shouldn't go any further. Maybe I should just stop here, observe the situation, stop a fight if you can. I mean, call the cops if it needs to be, but at the same point, understand, I'm not saying, don't be involved, but just take that little bit of something before you say, well, I know what I'm doing. My intentions are good. Be careful. Because sometimes the cosmic reality of things is there's a lot of other stuff going on out there, a lot of other energies, forces, stuff. Okay. And if you think you can think about every eventuality, forget it. So Stick with basic things. Well, I know this person, so maybe it's a battered wife. You go over and you talk to the wife and you say, "Listen, if you need any help, I'm here. If you just need to talk, just being a friend, taking over a cake or something. I don't know. I don't bake very well, but to the point, do something. Well, here's some barbecue, and just say, hey, if you ever, and if you see someone who's like taking their frustrations out on their family, you could talk to the person and go, wow, hey, if you need, you could talk to the bro, and have a bro conversation and go, hey, maybe if at any point, you get frustrated, maybe we can go out and shoot some golf or go out and hit a bag or something. I don't know, take your you may not say take your frustrations out on in a boxing ring versus beating on your family, but you could be subtle about it. Go, well, anytime you feel uptight or something, let's go out and do something. And maybe, relax them in such a way that it won't beat up the family. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of other things that we can do and I'm just using that as an example. There are thousands of examples. So, probably millions of examples, but anyway. But the idea, though, that before we go into something, let's make sure we step lightly. Make sure that the steps we make, we can follow up on. In other words, somebody says, look, don't just go over and tell them, hey, if you need help sometime, let me know. And then when they do, you say, well, I'm busy right now. Can't do that. If you make the promise, then keep it. Don't be half-assed about it. So you could go over and tell somebody, and then you're going to later on, you go, I shouldn't have done that. Well, but you committed. You made the comment. You made a, So, just buyer beware, because the things that we do have consequences. And quite frankly, sometimes there's something that even those of us who tried our best to make sure of any eventuality, you might have missed something. You might have missed something. And you go, but that's not what I wanted. Yeah. Did you think about it? So not to beat this thing up, but spirituality, life in general, get involved. But make sure when you do that what you intend actually will make it through. And that if you intend to do something, then you follow through with it as well. Otherwise, just back off and stay out of it. Because sometimes you can infect yourself, hurt your own family, others around you, because of your unintended consequences in trying to help someone or an object or a thing, or. So be careful, my friends. Do good work. Continue to do good work. Continue to send positive energy into the universe. Somebody had said something about, can we pray? Can we put too much positive into the universe? Oh, hell no, we can't. Always say, and as I stated on Milky Way Messenger earlier this evening, one of the things that, and for those of you who watched Dante, a recent video, he said right in the beginning of it, how many of you, whether you stand up, kneel, or lay on the ground, give thanks to the universe? How many? And one of the basic shaman things is to give homage, respect, honor to the universe. All four corners, up, down, and inside. It covers everything. And so when Native Americans do that all the time, and there are monks and hermits like myself, and that our prayer is every day, all day. When I'm walking around the yard or working, I say thank you. I look up at the sky and I say thank you for the blessings that are bestowed upon me. And even though we're 20 inches down in deficit of rain, I thank you for the rain we got the other day. It wasn't nearly enough, but I'm so grateful. So why should I bitch and complain about what we don't have when I'm so grateful that what we got? It was just a shower. Thank you. The earth was like, oh, I was outside going, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, but how many people actually say thank you to the universe? Oh, well, they worship God, but did they say thank you? Or, I mean, even in that, you all know my position, I think, about the worship thing. But it's not about worship. It is about adoration, being honorable, and saying thank you to all the angels and all the entities and all the things around. Thank you to the universe. It shows our intention. We don't have to mix it up with a bunch of words. Thank you for me being on this planet again. Thank you for not washing me out to sea. Thank you for, well, but it was a really tough day. So thank you that I made it through the tough day. Man, today was a bitch. Yeah, thank you. Today was a bitch, and thank you for helping me get through it. What? Yeah, lousy day, but thank you for helping me through it. Cheers. What do you mean by that? Well, the times that I almost drowned, I was like, oh, I almost drowned. I almost drowned. I was like, thank you, Jesus, I didn't drown. It wasn't, I almost drowned. Yeah, there was that little bit of panic, but I was so grateful I didn't. So it was like, man, I almost drowned, but I'm so glad that I didn't. I'm so glad to the universe that I got pulled out of the water. And the incident that I'm talking about, it was a miracle that I literally wasn't held down to the bottom of the river. And anyway, and I got a hypothermia, stage 2 hypothermia. It could have really got bad. It did get really bad. Stage 2 hypothermia ain't nothing to sneeze about, plus getting drowned in the river. But to the point though, I was so grateful, still am, that I did not drown, and that the angels came and helped me stand in the middle of the river on a twig until I could get back inside the canoe. Anyway, another day, that story maybe needs to be told. But to the point though, that I'm so grateful, and I'm still grateful. So I still say thank you for not letting me drown in the river that night. Thank you. Thank you for me not dying of hypothermia. Thank you. Yeah, it's been years ago. So what? Thank you. I'm still here. But there are so many people who was like, well, but why should I do that? Well, we send our vibrations into the universe. What do you intend every day? I intend for me, Hawkeye Two Feathers, David Null, I intend every day to send a positive prayer to the universe. I promise every day to send positive prayers to the universe. I promise every day that I will seek more understanding from the universe so that I may share it in some way with y'all and anybody else, and just to be able to better understand how I may share my energy in a positive and get the correct intended results. So, my friends, I don't want to beat this up, and I was on for an hour and a half with Milky Way Messenger, and I'm 33 and 13 into this right now. Let me read your comments here. I really, truly, when we say we love you, we do mean it. On Milky Way Messenger, when the three of us were at the end of the show, when we said we love you, we really do. And we want all of us to learn and understand in our own individual ways and come together on those points that really matter. That's what keeps the League of Like-Minded Beings going. Joanna, she says, hey, David, staying warm in New Mexico. Greetings to you. Jody says, can you give an example how to at least convey an idea to Christians without freaking them out? I think I sort of did, Jody. I hope, but pick the topics that are very simple. For example, do you wish peace upon the earth? Yes or no? Say, well, yeah, okay, I agree with you. Should we love our neighbor? Well, yes. Should we have forgiveness? Well, yes. So you just pick a certain few things, a couple of topics, and you just say, but I believe in all of those things. But you just say, but I believe it, and I believe it in my heart and in my soul. And you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to work for Satan or the devil. I'm not on that side. So in your explanation, you stay away from those key sort of new age words, if you will. They're still using that, even though the new age has been going on now for about 30 years. But I digress. But if the positive thing is, we just, and every person's different. You can't use the same little method on everybody, because it may be that this person's got, like, family. Do you believe in family? And, blah. Yes. Okay. So maybe it's a single person. So you don't use the family um, example, for example. But in that, but you try to pick the things that are key to all things, to all religions. Buddhist, shaman, doesn't matter. Peace, honor, respect, respect. Oh my God, respect, respect, respect for the universe, respect for yourself, respect for your elders, respect for, respect. Um, hmm. So you can talk about those subjects and it not having anything to do with religion. And so it cools the religious topic down. And you're now talking about respect. You respect your mother, you respect your parents, you respect the government, hi, Bob, I see you out there, me and the jitteriness. So, but anyway, but with that, that's how we get to them, to show them that we're not mean, ugly critters that they want to put us into. Um, David Castle says, forgive others for things they have done to you. Maybe their intent wasn't the result you intend that intent. I agree with you, David. I actually do. Joanna says, I keep DS videos, Dante Santori videos in my brain all day and try to be a better person. I agree, Joanna. And, doing this. And I was going to do a separate video about, what Dante said in the beginning of one of his last videos about honor. How many times do we actually send honor into the universe? So many people just think it's frivolous, and with all the training that I've had through the medicine men and shamans and so forth that I've had the opportunity to train and be with, they've all said the same thing. It's all about your intent. Say thank you to the Creator. And absolutely, I mean, there's whatever anybody else tries to convince me of, they cannot get me to change my basic outcome, my understanding of thank you, Creator. Regardless of what you do to me, I still believe. And I still have honor. And I still have respect. So we carry that on with us in our lives. That changes our frequency. That keeps us grounded, and also grounded in a sense that we can be antennas to the universe. So, Joanna, blessings to you. Thank you for all your prayers, for all of you here. Ian, I don't know if I said hi to you. Jody as well. Thank you, Jody. Michelle, as always. David Castle, I noticed that you subscribe. Thank you very much. You make 347, I think. So I'm kidding, but Brian was number 6 or 7, so he was 300 before you. Anyway, never mind. I just thank you very much for you all caring enough to stop and pay attention and just let me give you this. Think about this before you go out and do these things. Because I know all of you, because you wouldn't have subscribed to this channel, you all believe in these same core values that I do. And that's what makes us, members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. We are part of a group. We don't have to join anything. We already are. And when you understand that there's all these like-minded beings out there, and we all believe these core things, we're not alone. And it has nothing to do with religion, but everything to do with spirituality, our intent, our prayers, our frequencies, and our voices. So thank you, David. Thank you, David. Joanna, blessings to you, always back to you. And let's continue to spread what we know and keep praying. So until next time, my friends, with butt cramps and old man's got to go pee. I got to say adios for now. I always end with a prayer, and I absolutely mean it every time. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the blessings of the universe. I continue to pray that each and every day you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to accept, receive, and share. Kudos, my friends. You share, accept, receive, and share the knowledge, the blessings, and the healings from the universe. Cosmic hugs, everybody. Cheers. And Gerald, unwavering integrity is so vital to the principles along with our intent. Absolutely. Thank you, Gerald. Very well said. Cheers. Thank you, Joanna. Cigarette time. Yeah, me too. But anyway, I love you all and be safe. Uh, Keep working. You know, every day is a new lesson, and it's also a new blessing if you receive it. So thank you. Until next time, I am Hawkeye Two Feathers, aka also known as David Null. Until next time, TTFN. Ta ta for now from South Georgia. Blessings all.